I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce Barb Keshen, who has been a featured lecturer at the Ontario Hypnosis Centre School for a number of years now. Barb teaches a wonderful class called the Hypnosis for Kids, or Pediatric Hypnosis, and she's had amazing reviews for her courses over the years. So, just to introduce Barb, Barb, please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in hypnosis.
Well, in the 70s, I used to teach meditation and yoga. Then I took a little detour and got into law. I was a paralegal and legal assistant for years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yes. And when that became too stressful, I thought, okay, need a career change. And thought, well, what talents do I already have? And hypnosis came into mind because I thought, guiding people into trance is very similar to guiding them into meditation.
Oh, yeah.
So I felt quite comfortable with taking on that new career. And then started my practice with adults and started to get some requests for working with children. And thought, wow, that would be terrific, because I love kids, especially the little ones.
Oh, yes.
Love working with them. So thought, great, what a great avenue to take up. So I began to specialize in that. Took a course in it, and then just through my own experiences with children and working with them and learning as I go, I've become a specialist in a sense in pediatric hypnosis, and it's probably one of the most rewarding parts of my practice.
I can only imagine, and what a specialist you are. So tell me a little bit about what are some of the more gratifying aspects of working with kids.
The interesting thing with kids is there's not so much the techniques that we work with adults, in the sense they're already at the imaginative level, they're at the subconscious level. So in that respect, it's much easier to get them into that subconscious mind level. The other thing about children that's really wonderful is it's a very varied practice. So working with one child does not prepare you for the next.
Oh, great.
So you have to
never
think...
boring.
Never boring. Variety of issues. Each child is so unique in their personality. They're a lot more open than adults a lot of times. So they guide you in which way to work with them, which is something I really love.
Would you say it's easier? Because we know children aren't as conditioned as adults are.
Right.
By society. So would you say in some regards it's easier to
In
work?
some regards it's easier. In some regards it's more challenging in the sense that sometimes it's not the child that's choosing to be there.
That's true.
It's the parent that's brought them.
Yes.
However, it's very easy to gain rapport with children.
Oh, great.
And once you've got that rapport and got them on side, it's actually a joy.
So is that a key component in the course you teach?
Absolutely.
Great, great. And I know you, in the listings we talk about kids who are ADHD or for bedwetting or thumb sucking.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that people never think about that hypnosis can help children deal with that you work?
Well, obviously the bedwetting, that's a big one that people wouldn't think, but the bladder's a muscle.
Ah.
And the subconscious mind.
Brilliant. Never thought of it.
Yeah, subconscious mind controls the muscles.
Great.
So we've actually had very good success with that. Anxiety is a big one with children, a variety of issues, school, performance anxiety. They also, interestingly enough, are getting very stressed about life, and are actually having problems with insomnia,
Wow.
which was a bit of a surprise to me. But that's become a big issue with children, the insomnia.
Interesting how society is becoming more and more complex, and kids are having more and more access to information that's kind of overwhelming.
It's
for their little minds.
totally overwhelming, and they can't close their minds down at night.
Wow.
Because you're right, life has become more complicated.
Interesting. I don't work with kids myself personally, so I hadn't been aware of that happening. So do you find that's becoming more and more a big part of your practice?
I do. The stress management for children, the anxiety management, no matter what they're dealing with, kids are stressed.
What about study habits?
Yes, that's a big one. And the learning part of the course, it's actually quite a broad spectrum of what I'm teaching in that regard. So there's definitely the ADD and ADHD. That's only part of it. Motivation's a big one. And the interesting thing about kids today is they don't see the purpose in studying certain subjects. For instance, if they don't like history, why do I have to study this? They question things more. So you have to,
Well, there's a certain logic to that.
Absolutely. But what I always say to them is, you know what? Learning different subjects helps your brain work in different ways, and that's why you're learning different subjects. And that's the interesting thing about kids today. They need a reason
Yes.
to do something. I mean, in my day, you never questioned. You just,
You did
you know,
it.
behaved and you obeyed. These kids want to know why,
Yeah.
and what's the reason behind this. And that I find very gratifying.
And I know there's some sociological research that shows when kids actually make a decision on their own based on a rational reason, it actually helps them to develop into much more confident adults and to make decisions a lot more effectively.
Absolutely, and that's, so it's a bit more of a varied practice in some ways than you might deal with. So for instance, you're dealing with a smoking cessation client, certainly there's variations in that.
Yes.
But with children, you're getting a wide variety.
And I'm sure it's so much more fulfilling to see these little minds going out into the world and being so much better.
Absolutely, and you know, they're so thrilled when they have success. For instance, with the enuresis or the bedwetting, when they have dry nights and they come back to see me the next time, they're so excited.
Wonderful.
And they're so, their self-esteem goes up because they've been able to accomplish something. And that's what I love about children. They show. They show to you how pleased they are, how thrilled they are with their successes. And to me, that's, it's so gratifying.
So what's the age range, you would say?
Well, generally 6 is the earliest.
Okay.
However, that's not written in stone. I have had children as young as 3.
Oh, wow.
That was unusual, but I work a little bit in conjunction with a pediatrician, and he refers some of his patients to me, and he's a trained hypnotherapist.
Oh, wow, okay.
So he assessed that 3-year-old could handle coming, and she certainly was mature. Now that's the other interesting thing about children. You may see, okay, a 7-year-old's coming to see you. You haven't talked to that child on the phone, you've talked to the parent. And the 7-year-old may come in and be as mature as a 12-year-old, or they may be much younger. So you have to be very quickly able to shift your approach. And that's one of the things I get into in the class is how to do that.
Oh, wonderful. What's one of the most interesting cases you worked on? Something that made you go, wow, I never expected that.
Wow. I think it's more how I would say that how the children approached the idea of the session, and they come up with excellent ideas. For instance, I have one young boy, he was having trouble in school. Now, he was diagnosed as ADHD. I'm not sure that was entirely true. He just was bored in class because he was very smart. So he'd get his work done early, and then he would, cause a ruckus with the rest of the class. And so I'm not sure he was ADHD, actually, but he began to get a bit of a reputation in school as the troublemaker, and that really bothered him. And so I was working with him, trying to get him to process some of that, and he came up with the idea of the feeling recycling machine.
Oh, wow.
His bad feelings would go in one end, and the good feelings would come out the other.
How old was he?
He was 8.
Oh my, that's brilliant.
Oh yeah. So, and another little girl came up with the good thoughts box and the bad thoughts box, and I actually used that, and I actually have boxes I got at the dollar store, and she would put her bad thoughts into the bad thoughts box, rip them up, put them in, and in her good thoughts box she had fun things, and she'd take them out and read them. So I actually so most of my great ideas come from children I've worked with.
Okay, that's it. I'm taking the course now. I was planning on taking it, but my schedule, but definitely.
Yeah. It's so rewarding. Another little boy, of course, I let them choose where they're going to go in their imagination. One little boy went to ancient Greece. And, he had this whole big scenario going on. He was 7.
Incredible.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Well, so from a brief interview, you can see working with children can be so rewarding and so gratifying. I highly encourage you to consider adding it to part of your hypnosis practice, or potentially even if you are working in some kind of therapeutic modality with children, to consider studying hypnosis and learning the pediatric hypnosis with Barb to enhance the work you do. For further questions, just contact Ontario Hypnosis Centre at www.ontariohypnosiscentre.com. or our telephone number 416-489-0333. Thank you. Thank you, Barb.
Thank you.